Alright, in this video demonstration, we're going to do some more DHCP configuration. And the lab calls for us to go to server A and create a new scope called 7 support for the range on the 96 network. So let's go to server A, start, administrative tools, and DHCP. We're going to maximize the window, give us some more screen real estate here so we can see what's going on. Double click my server name, IPv4, and let's right click on IPv4 and say new scope. New scope wizard. Next, we'll call this again 7 support. That's what we decided to call this. Next, the range is going to be on the 96 network, so for me that is 192.168.55.97 through 192.168.55.126, and we are using a /27 CIDR notation. So I'll say next. The exclusions on here, let's see here, the first 29 addresses should not be given out. So 192.168.55.97 through 192.168.55.125. So that's the first 29 addresses. And let's say next. Lease duration. Lease time of 2 minutes only. So we'll just put a 2 there and make this days as 0. So we got 2 minutes lease time. Say next. And let's go ahead and configure additional scope options here for the DHCP server. Default gateway. The appropriate default gateway will be 192.168.55.97. Say add, because that's our server C to get out. The DNS server is 62, and that's our Hugo.local, is at least for me anyways, that's my domain name and that's my DNS server. So we'll say next. Don't have any kind of specifications in the lab for a Win server that I see. Say next. And do we want to activate the scope now? Let's see here. The scope should not be active according to the lab, so we'll say no. I will activate the scope later. Say next. And then finally finish. The next step we need to do is make a reservation for your Windows 7 computer using the last available IP address in the range. So let's go to our Windows 7 support scope here and go to reservations. I'm going to right click and say new reservation, and we'll call this Windows 7, and the last available address in our scope is 126. Now we need to figure out what Windows 7's MAC address is, so I'm going to jump over here to my Windows 7 machine again. And let's do cmd ipconfig all, and my MAC address is 00155D, and 702517. 702517. All right, got that knocked out. Got the reservation added as we see here. All right. Alright, the next thing that we have to do for the lab is implement a DHCP relay agent on the .97 interface of server C to allow Windows 7 and its plea to be heard for an IP address to get across over to server A. So what I'm going to do is jump over to server C, and the first thing I want to do is make sure that I'm not running DHCP on server C, and I'm not, because a server cannot be both a DHCP relay agent and a DHCP server, so I'm good to go. And I'm going to go in and add the relay agent under routing and remote access. So I'm going to click on routing and remote access on server C. Alright, now that routing and remote access is up, I'm going to give myself a little bit more screen real estate here. Go under IPv4 General and then right click and say New Routing Protocol. And we're going to select the DHCP Relay Agent. Say OK. So now that I have my relay agent, I still need to do a couple more things. Number one, I need to specify the interface that this relay agent is going to listen on. So I'm going to right click on DHCP Relay Agent, select New Interface, and I only want it listening on the interface going down towards Windows 7, which is the .97 interface. So I'll say OK. And I can just leave this information the default. Say OK. The next thing I want to do on our relay agent is to right click on it and go to properties and tell it what DHCP server I want it to go to, and that is server A, which is 192.168.55.33. I guess I need to have my numlock on there, 192. Well, numlock's not working, so I'm going to send a Control-Alt-Delete to my machine. A little troubleshooting there. Try it again and hit cancel, and sometimes that's what we have to do to get this keyboard to work right with us. 192.168.55.33, and click add and OK. So that was my 3 steps I needed to do to implement DHCP Relay Agent on server C. The next thing we have to do in the lab is to actually go back and activate the scope. So I'm going to go back to server A and go to my scope and right click on it and select activate. So we've activated the scope. Now we want to configure Windows 7 to obtain an IP address automatically and DNS automatically. So we're going to go to our Windows 7 machine, and let's go into the Network and Sharing Center for the configuration. Change adapter settings. Let's right click on our adapter and go to properties, and we want to go to TCP/IP version 4 and obtain IP address automatically. Say OK. And OK again. Give it just a moment. All right, close this out. And then we're going to use Ipconfig to confirm our DHCP configured configuration. So we're going to go CMD, do a little CD / and clear it out, which is what I like to do, just to get a clean screen here. And let's do an Ipconfig all, just so we can see everything. And we do see that we have been given a IP address that we should have been given for reservation 192.168.55.126.224. We see that our DHCP server is 192.168.55.33, which is server A. So we set up that DHCP server, made a reservation for Windows 7, and Windows 7 has just gotten the appropriate IP address from server A, which is our DHCP server. So good information. Also, we wanted to figure out and see about our lease information. I forgot to do that. So we'll do an Ipconfig all to see all of that. So again, maximize this. So my appropriate IP address we've gotten, my DHCP server, we saw that, and then finally my lease information. So I can go in here and see that my lease was obtained just a few moments ago, and my lease expires, looking, just a couple minutes. So very quick, fast, and easy. All right.